My wife said if I truly loved her, I'd let her explore a deeper connection with her soulmate, and that I should be grateful for her honesty. So I packed her bags, dropped her at his cabin, and filed for divorce before she unpacked. Now she won't stop calling to ask if we can start over. You ever feel the moment your heart just shifts? Like it's not even breaking, it's folding in on itself, dense and silent. That was me in the kitchen, dish towel in hand, while my wife of 11 years told me that if I really loved her, I'd let her explore a deeper connection with someone else. His name was Nathan, her soulmate, and apparently I was supposed to be grateful she'd been honest. Let's back up. My name's Tyler. I'm 39, construction foreman, dad to two amazing kids, Jace, 9, and Ellie, 6. My wife, Camilla, 37, works in holistic wellness, crystals, breathing workshops, moon rituals, shit I never really got but always supported because, well, love, or I thought I did. We met at a mutual friend's backyard wedding in Boulder. I was the sweaty guy by the grill. She was barefoot with flowers braided into her hair. I told her I didn't believe in soulmates. She laughed and said, "That's okay. You believe in showing up, and that's rarer." I showed up every day. I built our house, coached our son's soccer team, carried her through postpartum depression. When her business flopped during COVID, I worked double shifts. When she miscarried our third baby, I held her while she sobbed into my chest for hours. So yeah, when she sat me down 3 weeks ago with tears in her eyes and said she met someone at a tantra retreat, I didn't scream. I didn't flip the table. I listened. I listened while she explained, gently, lovingly, how her connection with Nathan was different, deeper, cosmic, and how I, sweet, solid Tyler, was her anchor, but not her twin flame. Twin flame. God. She said, "I'll always love you, but in a way that feels more like family now." Then added, "If you really loved me, you'd let me explore this, without resentment." I asked one question. "Is this an affair?" She winced. We haven't crossed that line yet, but emotionally, yes, and I want to be honest before it does." Then she looked at me, and asked if I could hold space for her. Hold space? While she slept with someone else? I stared at the kitchen wall so long I memorized the crack above the window. Then I stood up, walked to the bedroom, packed her a duffel bag, and calmly said, "You're going to Nathan's tonight. I'll drop you off." She blinked. "What?" I said, "I'll drive you to his cabin. You want to explore? Explore. But don't do it in my house." She stammered, started crying. "Tyler, you're not hearing me." I heard everything, crystal clear. So I dropped her at Nathan's mountain cabin, where she said they meditate under starlight and commune. Didn't even turn the engine off. She was still crying when I pulled away. I filed for divorce the next morning before she even unpacked. And now? Now she won't stop calling, messaging, emailing. "Can we talk? I think I made a mistake. We rushed. You're still my best friend." She thinks this is reversible. She doesn't know what she broke, but I'm starting to think maybe it's time she finds out. The first time I met Nathan, I didn't even register him. He was just another guy in a sea of Camilla's spiritually aligned acquaintances. Barefoot, beaded necklace, sipping something fermented that smelled like armpit and regret. This was back in May. She dragged me to one of her full moon gatherings. These weird circles with herbal teas and open mic poetry. I went because she asked. I always went because she asked. He introduced himself as a healer, which in Boulder could mean anything from licensed therapist to unemployed weed enthusiast. He gave me this long, lingering handshake like he was scanning my soul. Said something like, "Your energy is dense, man. Earthbound." I laughed. He didn't. Camilla beamed at him like he was quoting scripture. I remember she touched his arm while laughing at something he said. I told myself not to think anything of it. People in her world are just touchier. Afterward, in the car, I mentioned he was intense. She got weirdly defensive. "He's just present, Ty. Not everyone's afraid of emotional intimacy." It stung. But I brushed it off. I'd been brushing things off for months by then, like how she suddenly didn't want to be touched unless it was intentional. How she started sleeping with a pillow barrier between us. How she began going to more and more workshops without ever inviting me. Nathan became a fixture, first as a name in passing, then a co-facilitator in her breathwork groups, then a creative collaborator. By July, his name had come up more than mine at dinner. I remember Ellie asking, "Mommy, is Nathan coming to the farmer's market too?" And Camilla freezing like she'd been caught shoplifting. She'd laugh it off. "No, honey, Nathan's just Mommy's friend." But something had shifted. Her laughter around me became tight, measured. She stopped kissing me goodbye. Her phone was always face down. And the worst part? I still believed I could fix it. I planned a weekend getaway to Glenwood Springs. Just the two of us. No kids, no phones. I booked a cabin with a private hot tub and everything. She said she had a workshop that weekend. Maybe another time. She didn't even look sorry. Then came the conversation in the kitchen. Her declaration of cosmic alignment. The suitcase. The ride to Nathan's. She was crying when she got out of the car. Tyler, this doesn't mean I don't love you. I stared straight ahead. You're at a stranger's cabin with a man who wants to be inside your soul. We're past love. Please don't shut down on me, she whispered, her hand on the door. I didn't reply. Just waited until she closed it, then drove away before she could change her mind. I couldn't risk her coming back in that car. That night I sat on the porch, beer untouched, phone buzzing every hour with messages I didn't read. The house was quiet, kids were with my sister, and I swear to God, it felt like someone had died. I walked into the bedroom, still smelled like her lotion and sage. I found her favorite cardigan draped over the chair like a ghost clinging to form, and I realized I wasn't just angry, I was humiliated. I was replaced, and she wanted me to bless it. That's the moment something cracked inside me, not in a broken way, in a clean, sharp, final way. I wasn't going to be her safe space anymore. I was going to be the last thing she never saw coming. The next morning, I woke up before the sun. Cold air, empty bed, silence so loud it rattled. Her toothbrush was still in the holder. Half a bottle of her lavender shampoo stared at me in the shower. I bagged it all, every last trace of her, dumped it in a storage bin, and dragged it to the garage. I needed the space back, physically, mentally. Camilla called 5 times before 9 a.m. I didn't pick up. At 10:13, she texted, I felt sick last night. I couldn't sleep. Can we please talk? Talk. After everything she wanted to talk, I ignored her. By noon, I had an appointment with a divorce attorney. Let me tell you something about that moment. Sitting in the lawyer's office, handing over my marriage certificate, joint mortgage papers, and the kids' birth certificates, it felt like surgery. Clinical, bloody, necessary. The attorney, middle-aged guy with kind eyes and a quiet voice, asked me, is there any hope for reconciliation? I said, not unless her soulmate lets her take weekends off. He nodded like he'd heard worse. Probably had. I filed on grounds of irreconcilable differences, which felt like a cosmic joke given how irreconcilably different our worldviews had apparently become. I requested primary custody of the kids, told them she could have the spiritual succulents and incense sticks. I wanted my kids and my dignity. That night, she showed up at the house. Didn't knock, just opened the door with her key like nothing had happened. Tyler, she called out, like she lived there. I was sitting in the living room. She froze when she saw the empty bookshelves, her stuff boxed in the corner. What is this? She asked, voice shaking. I didn't even stand. Your exit plan. You didn't think I'd actually wait for you to decide if I'm enough? Her eyes welled up. I just needed time to figure out what this connection meant. Time? I laughed, sharp and bitter. You had 11 years? She stepped forward. It's not black and white. Nathan, he opened something in me. But you're my home, Tyler. I stood. You burned your home down for a bonfire with a stranger. Don't crawl through the ashes looking for warmth. Then she did something I didn't expect. She collapsed. Right there, in front of the couch, full-blown sobbing, collapsing into herself like a marionette with its strings cut. I made a mistake, she gasped between tears. I didn't think you'd really leave. I thought you'd fight for us. I knelt beside her, not to comfort her, but to look her in the eyes. I fought for us for years, I said. But you weren't fighting. You were meditating through the demolition. She reached for my hand. I stood up and walked away. That night I changed the locks. Next day she was back, banging on the door at 6 a.m., screaming about how she left her journals inside, how I couldn't do this to her. I gave you children, Tyler, she screamed. No, I said through the door. You gave me an ultimatum. I recorded everything, called my lawyer. She stood outside for 45 minutes, crying, yelling, begging, threatening. At one point, she slumped against the door and whispered, you don't understand what it's like to feel empty. But I did. I understood too well, and I wasn't going back. 3 days after changing the locks, Camilla showed up at my job site. Let that sink in. I'm in the middle of laying concrete with a 5-man crew, sweat pouring, boots caked in mud, and there she is, standing on the gravel in sandals and a flowy white dress like some kind of tragic Greek ghost. Even the guys stopped what they were doing. Raoul muttered, boss, you got a visitor? Like he'd just seen a poltergeist. She walked straight toward me. No shame, no hesitation. We need to talk, she said, eyes red-rimmed but steady. I kept my voice low. You're trespassing, Camilla. Her face cracked. Seriously? After everything we've built, you're treating me like a stranger? You treated me like an option. This is just the consequence. She pulled something from her bag, a bundle of papers. At first, I thought maybe divorce filings of her own. Nope. It was a letter, 8 pages, handwritten, each one laced with what we had, what I lost, how I was confused, and, my personal favorite, Nathan wasn't what I thought. Turns out Mr. Soulmate had some baggage of his own, including a non-monogamous entanglement with 2 other women he forgot to mention. Camilla found out after she caught a woman leaving his cabin with a duffel bag and a hickey the size of Texas on her neck. I couldn't help it. I laughed. That broke something in her. "You're enjoying this," she spat. "You're happy that I'm in pain." "No," I said, taking off my gloves, "but I'm finally not the only one." She looked genuinely stunned, like she couldn't believe I had it in me to be cold. And here's the kicker. She asked me to pause the divorce. "Just for a month," she said, "so we can try therapy. See if anything's salvageable." I didn't yell. I didn't even flinch. I said, "Camila, I signed the papers, and I already told the kids. You made your choice. I'm just making it permanent." That's when she lost it. Right there, in front of my entire crew. She screamed, that I was abandoning my family, that I was throwing away 13 years over a mistake, that I was heartless, cruel, ego-driven. She kicked over a tool bucket. She cried so hard she choked, and I just stood there, letting her finally feel what I had been drowning in for months. My foreman eventually walked over, awkward as hell. "Ty, you want me to call someone or—" I shook my head. "She's leaving," and she did, eventually. After 10 more minutes of sobbing on the gravel. Later that night she texted, "You always said you'd never give up on us. I guess I finally broke you, huh?" I didn't respond. I just stared at that message for a while. Because yeah, she did break me, but not into pieces. She broke me open, and something new was starting to form. Update 1. Wow, I did not expect the response to blow up like this. Honestly, thank you, every one of you, for the comments, DMs, even the jokes about chakra realignment via public breakdown. Reddit, you came through. To the people saying, "Tyler, you're a saint for not burning the cabin down," I laughed way too hard. And to the folks asking if I've heard from Nathan, yeah, we'll get to that. Some of y'all asked why I didn't try harder to save the marriage, why I didn't go to therapy before she found her soulmate. Fair, but here's the thing. I did try. For years. I begged her to talk, to let me in, but she was already halfway out the door. She just didn't have the guts to admit it until she had somewhere to land. A few of you said, "Don't be surprised when she turns the kids against you next." And, yeah, I'm bracing for that. She hasn't tried it yet, but I've got a journal now where I log every conversation, every drop-off, every missed call. My lawyer says it's smart to document everything early. Oh, and for the Redditor who said, "Bet she'll try to rewrite history in 6 months and say you gave up on her," you might be psychic, because last night, she left a voicemail saying she doesn't remember it happening like that. Said she feels manipulated by Nathan, like he used her vulnerability against her. Now she wants to heal together. Yeah, together. Well, let me tell you what happened next, because healing, for me, was about to look very, very different. The next time I saw Camila in person was because of Ellie. She was crying in the school parking lot. Real tears, the kind where she hiccups and buries her little face in my chest. She said her mom had locked herself in the bathroom for hours and wouldn't let them in. Jace had to make them mac and cheese for dinner. They're kids. I took her straight home with me, called my lawyer first, then called Camila. She picked up sounding out of breath. "What do you want, Tyler? Where are the kids supposed to sleep tonight?" Silence. I said, "Because they're with me. And you better believe I'll file for emergency custody if this happens again." She whispered, "I'm just having a rough time." "Get a journal," I snapped. "Don't dump your breakdown on a 6-year-old. That night, I looked at my daughter asleep on the couch. She'd refused to go to her room, too scared, and something in me shifted. I wasn't just done with Camila. I was done playing nice. The next day, I made a call to Nathan. See, what I didn't mention in the original post is that Nathan's not some isolated hippie in the woods. He runs a transformational retreat business. And guess what? He's got a podcast. Hundreds of hours of him droning on about sacred union, divine masculine, and how monogamy is a fear response programmed by capitalism. And wouldn't you know it, in a recent episode titled Radical Honesty in Relationship, he casually describes a situation that sounded very familiar. He says, and I quote, "Sometimes you meet a woman who's stuck in an earthbound contract. She's tethered to safety but yearning for awakening. It's not about breaking up marriages. It's about helping her remember who she was before she chose safety." I clipped the audio, sent it to Camila with no comment. Then I sent it to her mom, and her sister, and her best friend Maya, the one who once told me I was lucky to have a woman as emotionally evolved as Camila. I even posted it anonymously on a local Facebook group where Camila's wellness business advertised her as a healing intuitive specializing in feminine embodiment coaching. Guess what happened next? She called me at 1 a.m., sobbing, said clients were backing out, that people thought she was unstable, that her reputation was being weaponized by a vengeful ex. "You destroyed my business," she screamed. "No," I said calmly. "Nathan did. I just held up a mirror. And then, because I'm petty and tired and still bleeding, I said one more thing. Consider it your karmic awakening." She hasn't called since, but I know this isn't over, not by a long shot. 2 weeks passed in eerie silence. Camila stopped calling. No texts, no surprise drop-ins. Not even the usual passive-aggressive wellness quotes on her Instagram stories. At first, I thought she was finally backing off. Maybe she realized the damage couldn't be undone. Maybe Nathan had fully claimed her awakening. But then came the email. Subject line, "For the sake of the children." I knew I shouldn't open it, but I did. 6 paragraphs. Rambling, dramatic, full of, "I never stopped loving you," and "The energy between us is unresolved." She said she'd started therapy, alone, that Nathan turned out to be emotionally manipulative, and she felt lost in his orbit. She begged for family counseling, said the kids were confused and hurt and needed to see us together. I read the whole thing 3 times. Then I forwarded it to my lawyer. The next day, she showed up at Jace's soccer game. Let me set the scene. Saturday morning, field full of yelling parents, hot sun, and Gatorade bottles. I'm on the sidelines, clapping, cheering. Jace scores a goal, runs to high-five me. That's when I hear the voice. "Tyler!" First turn. Camilla's standing behind the bleachers. Tight jeans, oversized sweater, hair down like she's trying to look casual, but her eyes are swollen. She hasn't been sleeping. "Can we talk?" she asks, and already parents are looking. "Now's not the time," I say. "It's never the time," she snaps. Then she does the thing I was dreading. She walks onto the field during a timeout, grabs Jace by the arm, and kneels down like this is some emotional indie film scene. "Baby," she says, "don't you miss when we were a family?" I was on her in seconds. "You don't use our kid for emotional blackmail," I hissed. "This is his day." Other parents started whispering. One filmed it. She backed away, crying, again, and left in her car. That night, I told the kids we were taking a break from seeing their mom. Supervised visits only. Through a court-approved third party, Jace didn't even flinch. Ellie cried for a bit but then asked if she could sleep in my bed again. I sat on the edge of the bed staring at our wedding photo, the one she forgot to take when she left. I used to love that picture. Now I can't look at it without hearing Nathan's voice in that podcast. She was tethered to safety, like I was a leash. She left me to chase a fantasy. Now she wants to come crawling back through the wreckage. But here's the thing about burning your bridges. Sometimes the ashes get in your lungs and choke you before you can rebuild. And I'm not giving her the oxygen. Not anymore. Update 2. Okay, so this is it. Or it better be, because I don't think I have much more left to say. First off, again, thank you. The way some of you rode for me? Unreal. There were comments that made me laugh so hard I almost dropped my phone. Special shout out to the person who called Nathan an emotionally manipulative hummus in human form. Some of you shared your own stories, and damn, it's wild how many people have been through something like this. So here's where things stand. We had the first court hearing for custody. Camilla showed up late, disheveled, wearing all white like she was there to summon a spirit instead of explain why our son had to make dinner for his sister. She tried to paint me as emotionally distant and reactionary, but my lawyer brought the receipts, the voicemail, the podcast clip, the meltdown at the soccer game, and the email where she literally admitted to being lost in Nathan's orbit. The judge didn't smile once. We now have temporary full custody. She gets supervised visits, no overnights, no spiritual retreats, no experimental co-healing weekends. The kids are okay. Jay seems relieved, honestly. Ellie still asks why mommy's not home, but we're working through it. As for Camila, she's quiet now. I heard through Maya she's taking a break from social media. Her business is crumbling. Nathan ghosted her the day after the podcast blew up. Apparently one of the other entanglements found out she was married and aired it all in a comment thread that went viral in her little moon rock community. She sent me one last text last night. "I never thought you'd turn cold." I stared at it for a long time. And then I did something I never thought I'd do. I blocked her. Because healing doesn't mean holding hands with the person who set the fire. Sometimes it means walking out of the ashes and locking the damn door behind you. Camilla went quiet for about 3 weeks. Long enough for me to start sleeping through the night again. Long enough for the kids to settle into our new rhythm, homework at the kitchen table, movie nights on Fridays, pancakes on Sunday mornings. I was rebuilding something. Not perfect, but ours. Then the vandalism started. At first it was just small things. A flat tire on my truck. I thought maybe I hit something. Then my mailbox got ripped off the post. Probably neighborhood kids, I told myself. Until I came out one morning and found the words, "Emotional abuser," spray painted across my garage door in bright orange. That's when I knew. Camilla may have stopped calling, but she hadn't stopped spiraling. I filed a police report, showed them the footage from my doorbell cam. It caught someone in a hoodie, face down. But the body language? The way they walked? I knew it like I knew the back of my own hand. 2 nights later, I woke up at 2 a.m. to motion alerts. She was in the driveway, sitting cross-legged in front of the garage, holding one of her crystals, chanting. I kid you not, chanting. I didn't go outside. I called the police again, told the dispatcher she was trespassing, said I had a court order. When the officers showed up, she didn't resist. She just started crying and told them I was trying to erase her spiritual identity and manipulate the children against their divine mother. They told her to leave, warned her not to return. The next morning, Ellie asked, "Why was mommy sitting in the street?" And I had to explain, in kid terms, what it means when someone doesn't know how to stop hurting the people they say they love. I called Maya after that. We hadn't spoken since everything blew up, but I knew she still talked to Camilla. She sounded exhausted. "She's unraveling, Ty. She talks to herself sometimes, thinks she's being punished by the universe. She says you tainted the energetic field. I don't even know what that means." I said, "Tell her the field doesn't want her back." That same day, I installed security cameras on every side of the house. I added a chain lock to the front door, changed my phone number. But deep down, I knew what this was. Camilla wasn't coming back because she loved me. She was coming back because she couldn't stand being irrelevant. Losing her grip on me, on the kids, on the image she built of herself, that was the real break. And people like her, they don't let go without trying to tear something apart on the way down. But she picked the wrong target this time. Because I wasn't her anchor anymore. I was the storm. The last straw came on Ellie's birthday. She turned 7. We had cupcakes at school, a homemade unicorn cake at home, and a backyard full of her giggling friends. I let her pick the movie, Encanto, again, and she fell asleep in my lap right after We Don't Talk About Bruno. It was a perfect day, until I checked my phone. Camilla had posted a photo, Ellie's baby picture, one of the few Camilla still had, captioned, "Happy birthday to my moonchild. Even if the system keeps us apart, our souls remain connected. Mommy will always love you, even if Daddy won't let me show it." The comments were full of her followers, some who knew better, most who didn't, offering prayers, sending hearts, demanding justice. She had turned my daughter's birthday into a public pity performance, and she tagged me. I took a screenshot, sent it to my lawyer, and added a new entry to the file. Parental alienation attempt, July 16th. The next day, we filed to make the supervised visitation indefinite. I didn't even wait for the court order this time. I blocked her on every platform, took down the few remaining pictures of her from the kids' walls, packed up the last of her things, her journals, her scarves, that stupid singing bowl she used to hit when we argued, and dropped them at Maya's front step. Didn't ring the bell, just left them there, like old trash you're finally ready to throw out. That night, I opened the wedding photo album for the last time. Page after page of smiles that meant nothing now, her in white, me in a borrowed tux, our parents grinning like idiots. I took the photo of us at the altar, the one she made us frame big for the hallway, and carried it out to the fire pit. I didn't hesitate. The glass cracked from the heat. Her face warped in the flames. And for the first time in a long, long time, I exhaled, like I had been holding my breath since the moment she said the word soulmate. This story doesn't end with some dramatic reconciliation. It ends with peace. Real peace. The kind that comes not when someone apologizes, but when you stop waiting for one. Camilla can chant to the stars. She can chase alignment across as many states, bodies, and belief systems as she wants. But she won't find me there. Not anymore. Because I'm not orbiting around her chaos, and I'm building a new world. And my kids? They're at the center of it.